Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 10th and we've got CPI 10-year Treasury auction today. Heading over to the charts right away. Starting with the Treasury pretty flat from yesterday. They moved back up a little bit after that 3-year auction, but they are now back down to that level. E-mini, pretty crazy day. Apparently that was, for the NASDAQ, one of the best days since November. They're still bouncing off that 3,900 resistance zone. Kind of looks like an ascending triangle to me. The sell-off afterwards was pretty hard. So I'm a little concerned about that. Oil still reeling from the surprise build that they've had this week. Gold and silver did really great yesterday, but not much since the morning. And copper's still kind of going sideways here. So looks like we got everything set. So the big thing that we got here, though, is the CPI that's about to come in about 5 minutes. So we're looking for an inflation rate month over month to be spot 4. That will be higher than last time. Spot 4 versus previous spot 3. With the core inflation rate, we're looking for a spot 2 versus 0. And just remember that they're slightly different here. I believe it's core is less food and energy, right? Let's see here. Yep, excluding food and energy. So we've got that coming through. Rick says I'm like number 2. What does that mean? Like the second person to tune in? Make sure I get all my robots going. Get everything running and minimize that so I can really see the order flow coming through in the Treasury. Oh, yeah. Well, the best thing to do is I have the permanent live stream link in the video description, and you just bookmark that and come in every morning and start it up, and then just wait. Dum, dum, dum. David Tepper says Treasury's pause is only temporary. Wonder why they've been talking about him a lot. It's been... Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, there we go. Jigsaw Trading finally put up the last group therapy video. Do you think the hedge funds are still in? Well, I've been kind of wondering why GameStop has been behaving the way that it is, because there was that initial piece of news to push them up, but then everybody seems to think that there's like this short squeeze still coming, and I just go through it in the I don't see the support for that. But we can go and do our research a little bit later if we would like. We get this news coming here in a second, though, so. Okay, remember spot 4. Spot 4 is the number we're looking at. It's in line. Good morning. Good morning, Big Toasty. Okay, so the core CPI, which is less food and energy, it was actually slightly under expectation at spot 1 versus spot 2. So the first bullet averted, right? If that CPI number had been above expectation, that could have really held back markets. So the S&P 500 is going to be very happy about that. Well, that is just going. Some decent volume at 11.5. There you go. Ooh, strong stack at 11.5 now that they've traded up here. They took me out at +8. There could be more, but there's pretty good support there or resistance there, and you know, I didn't get as many contracts on that as I would have wanted, so yeah. Plus, it was something that I notice is that you get like the absorption that'll go through it a little bit and then trail off. There's a big order up at 16, but you always tend to see something interesting at 16 and zeros, so I think I should we can just kind of rest on that. Easy trade. I'm actually surprised that I mean, at 08.5 was like the initial jump, but they kind of sat there for a while, so it was they gave you easy entries and everything. Not quite hitting our target there at 38.89. This is the little distribution. There we go. Oh, and Gabby caught the gap too. Cool. And of course, Brandon taking it. Squire taking it. It's interesting that all of a sudden Squire is taking some trades. I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay, so now I'm coming back. What, you want to see today? Just what I did just there? It's okay. Look at the robots today. So I think Brandon takes it off at 300. Gabby is the furthest along. She's in the pro account. So if we can go a week or two with her averting any kind of big disasters or anything, well, maybe we might go and put her on a combine or start trading in a live account. Nah, I only did one MES contract. I guess maybe I should have put in more, but yeah, you know, the media's gonna come back here, probably. There's always that little pullback. Yeah, well, I think these were still on the practice accounts, right? I guess I have had a long enough string here of winning days that it would be prudent for me to go and start trading the live account. But I did have this one run. Well, actually, I think there was more than one. There's one right there, and there's one right there. Oh, there it is right there. So this is where I'm still a little hesitant because I'm not sure what causes those. Oh, some of these, yeah, I need to switch which account we're looking at here. Some of those that we're looking at are the sim. There we go. So there's my trading. So it's not bad. In the E-mini, it's not bad, but and then when you add in how do I do this? Filter editor, get rid of the instrument. There we go. Then when you add the E-minis in, very, very nice. I trade a real money, but so many people say trade with real money to get emotions. But in my opinion, well, there's definitely a difference. The problem is that if you don't have a real edge, it's not going to help you. You know what I mean? I think a lot of those comments are coming from people that don't really have real edges. And they've come in and they've blown up before, and they think that the reason that they've blown up is because of their psychology and not their edge. I wonder why you're asking, though. I haven't shown for a while because I've gotten to the point where it's like, you know, if I'm doing well, I don't necessarily want people to know. So can you give a quick samples recap of how futures work when you get free time? You buy it and then it goes up, and for every tick that it goes up in the 10-year treasury, you make $15.625, and then you take it off wherever you want. That's the I know I'm like nonchalant about it, but if you haven't traded futures, that's what you got to do. That's how it works. You know, in a stock, you look at it and you're like, okay, I have the X number of shares, and this is the current price, and then there's futures. All that you care about is how big of a move you caught. How many ticks did it move? That's it. What is your edge? Most of the prop traders say trading is a skill. Well, if I was going to generalize my edge, I would generalize my edge being my ability to analyze the data and pull from large number of information sources, because you guys share with me so much. And then I have specific things about the markets that I know from empirical evidence happen, and I lean on those for my prices in addition to what the news and sentiment is. And that's how I'm able to get trading that can have a really high win rate and good risk-reward ratios. And I guess in the treasury, because in the treasury, I'm not trading that live. A big edge that I've been taking advantage in the treasury is just using the multiple contracts to truly market make. Oh, Bill Groves, I used to chat with you on Twitch. Oh, really? Well, it had to have been more than a year. I think it's been a year since we've been on YouTube only, but I kind of vaguely remember that. You should trade in a hedge fund. You know what? I've been watching this whole thing with Kathy Woods and ARK, and I'm sitting there looking at how they run their fund. Like, there's no risk manager over there, and I'm like, oh man, why am I not running an ETF? Why am I not running an exchange-traded hedge fund? Like, come on. Is it possible to trade just context-driven? Well, I think that you have, like, little parts, right? I would say instead that it is extremely difficult to trade without the context, but you're gonna want to have more than that too. I think that when you come in and you look at markets, there's a lot of things that people look at that don't matter, and there's a lot of things that people don't look at that do matter. And so the thing that I'm always trying to hammer home with you guys is that you want to try and get as big of a picture as you can. One of the reasons why a lot of retail traders don't see that bigger picture is because of the belief that news doesn't matter, which is just straight up wrong. So one of the things that you can really look at and rely upon, well, not rely upon, but I think has a really big impact on what the market is going to do, is to look at large trade strategies. So there's a lot of stuff that you're going to read about, and it's going to be like, there's a gamma squeeze on the index for this or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not directly applicable to my strategy. Maybe not, but like it kind of very often gives you what the midterm direction is going to be, and you can just trade off of that, right? And if you know what the daily trend is going to be, that makes your scalping so much easier, right? What is context? Yeah. So I shouldn't use the word context. He used the word context. And that's why I was going off of that. What I mean to say is that you should include information and data sources beyond data that is generated at the exchange. So data that is generated at the exchange is price, volume, orders, right? Everything that your data provider sends to you and shows in your trading program. But I'm saying you need to incorporate sources outside of that. News, fundamentals, valuations, information about large market players. I don't know. I've been doing really well lately, but I'm still hesitant on the E-mini. There's just every once in a while a little kind of get on the wrong side of it, and it's bad. And I really want to eliminate those. So I heard only 20% are speculators. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of volume all over the place. What if there is conflicting news? Don't trade it. It's been a long time since we've had something like that before. But when you get situations like that, what you often have is different trade groups feeding the news, different pieces of information to try and help their case. And in a war like that, it's probably best to just like stand aside, right? By the way, I was looking here at GameStop, and I can see that the number of shares short is 14 million. So there really are not a lot of, well, I mean, it's still like 50% of the short. So there's still shorts, but it's not even close to what it was. So I still think that most of this action in GameStop is happening because of all the Redditors buying it and trying to pump it with options. You got the TT data and connected it to Sierra? Okay. I don't know. Like the TT data is better, but I feel like you're missing out half of the benefit if you're not using the TT platform. Have you looked at the... I'm not sure what links you're talking about. What is your name on Discord again? Oh, yeah, the seasonalities thing. So... yeah, so if I come in here... The issue with a lot of seasonalities, how do I say this? Okay, so like when you look at this, what they're saying is that based on the yearly averages from 1996 to 2021, we tend to be going up during this time period and flat during this time period and up during this time, that sort of a thing. The issue with this kind of analysis is that outliers have a large impact. So like this thing right here, that probably happened. That probably happens because there was like 1 or 2 years where January through February was really good. And here we can see that this year, have January and February been good for gold? No. So there's kind of an issue with the analysis in that way. So here's what I would do instead. Okay. Look for seasonality that's not so multidimensional. Okay. So like trendiness. Okay. Like is there you can look at like average, I think it's ADX is one where it's not necessarily it will give you the same number if it moves up or if it moves down. And the number that it's telling you is how much it's moving up or down, how much momentum there actually is behind it. And go and run your seasonalities on your own based off of that. And that's when you can go and you can find things like the S&P 500 tends to be more active on Wednesdays. You get what I mean? What if the news impact is slower / faster? So if the news impact is slower than expected, that's usually good. Those are usually my best trades. Right. Like the best trade is when you have a piece of news comes out, you realize that it's important and the market doesn't really react to it right away. And it takes time for everybody to realize that it's not, Now, what if large misinformed traders traded against you? So that does happen where you could have a piece of news comes out and you recognize that it doesn't mean what they think it means, but they trade against you. Now, that one's a tough one because you can try trading against them, but depending on what the thing is, that's often doesn't work out. But this is where I think that when you're talking about trading news, everybody has this idea in their head that the way that you trade news is you hear the number come out and you see how different it is from the expectation, and then you trade it based off of that. And the kind of analysis that you have to do is a lot more complicated. You have to go in and say, what's a piece of news? How is the market going to interpret that news? How do I interpret that news? What is the difference between the expectation and the positioning? And you have to factor all of that in to determine where it might go. And that's one of the reasons why retail traders have a hard time with news, is because they're not doing a sophisticated analysis to understand why it's moving where it is. And so to them, it just seems like it never moves the way that it's supposed to. Okay, so we got a pretty good move. I'm pretty happy with where I got out at. It's coming back to the lower end of that range, man. How do you do your pre-market analysis? Well, Big Toss, you asking me lots of questions that I feel like you would already know. But I come in and I read a news briefing every morning, and then I go through all of the major futures instruments and try and form a picture of my mind about where the macro money flow is going at that time. Would be great on a robot, probably not. I don't know how to build a robot that factors in all of those things. There's just too much about how the part that is, how do you calculate what the impact of that particular piece of news is going to actually be on the market is too sophisticated. I don't know how ADX is calculated, actually. Another one is ATR. So let's do a more simple one. You could go in and you could do a study with my NinjaTrader stat suite that you can go and download from the downloads channel. And you could say, build me a distribution histogram of the daily range of Mondays versus Wednesdays. And you will find that Wednesdays have a higher distribution of wide range days. Are you a data scientist? I guess. I definitely do a lot of analyzing. I wouldn't say that I'm a super professional data scientist. Your stream is spotty. Is it kind of giving you little hiccups? What about rollover? That's never something that I deal with. And in fact, I prefer to trade less when rollover happens, because when the order flow starts coming in, you often get really bizarre moves. So Would you give up your Wheel of Death? Huh. Yeah, I'm not like a master on Kaggle or anything like that, but I do a lot of data analysis. You say sorry for my aggressive question. I don't feel like they're aggressive questions. I'm just kind of like wondering what's going on because you keep asking questions that I feel like you've asked before or that you've been coming around the stream long enough that you would know. And I'm like, do I have him confused with somebody else? Maybe I do. Anyways. I don't like to give everything up, you know? Like the things that I share with you are the things that I feel like are base, you know? Like I feel like that everybody that's participating in the market should probably know. Morning, Bill. Won't even mention you mentioned Bitcoin, you mean? I tell you what, all of the butters are absolutely convinced that it's going to 60K. I must admit, from the way that it's trading off of here, it could get there. Although, you know, I don't really feel like that kind of analysis is really very reliable. Do you trade off stream? Sometimes, yes, but not very often. Not very often. Usually when I'm trading off stream, it's a bad thing. Oh, what is this? Okay. Bitfinex posting something interesting about the owner of Tether and pointing out that he used to be an owner in Dull Chain, but he was removed over a year ago. Streams are distracting? Well, they can help too. I have to say I am a better trader because of the stream, no question about it. I wonder why he's posting that. Dave Nading for the morning crowd. The Bitcoin trapped inside GBTC can never ever leave. And that 640 million in annual fee is just going to pile up. Well, 50% more shares flood the market. It does seem like the GBTC buying everything up is part of why Bitcoin's been moving the way that it is. BlockFi is operating with the New York LLC and they offer services using Tether. Oh, that's funny. If you had to pick a martial, why would you ask me that? There is the E-mini looking to push some new highs. I'm just going to kind of let it do its thing for now. In fact, I may, I could just say that I'm done. Between Brandon and Squire, they're going to catch some good runners, man. Can you go over what you look for at Jigsaw when you take a trade? No. So, what is your experience with this so far, Adam? I kind of want. Whoa, am I? Can you still hear me? Why is my mic? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm fine. We're fine. So remember, I'm not going to give away my edge per se. Right. So what I'm trying to get is like, what do you know about order flow and where are you at? And what is the thing that you need to know? Right. It's quite a bit of clicky there today on the E-mini, isn't there? Is your order edge? Well, I would say that part of it is. Huh. Wait, were you going short, Ace? As far as the order flow, use sink or swim level 2 time and sells to spot large orders and then look to see how price reacts at a price level. Okay, so here's what I would say about that then. Especially when you're starting out, people tend to place a large emphasis on large orders. Like they would come in and they would look at the S&P 500 right now and they'd be like, here's a big order over here and here's a big order over here. And based off of that, I think that they're going to go up to at least 38.95 because they're going to go and find the big liquidity, and you do that kind of analysis, right? So the issue with that their kind of analysis is twofold. One is that, well, actually, let's say threefold. The first is that you're looking at something that everybody can see. So that's kind of a problem. Where you're looking at something that everybody can see and like really stands out to everybody, like you were meant to see that, right? Second thing is that the way that markets tend to react to resting liquidity, especially large orders like that, changes. I've seen periods of time where, there was a lot where they always go up to it. And I've seen periods of time where they go away from it, right? And then the last thing is that, those orders can be spoofed, right? They can put it up there, and then as soon as they're about to get filled, they can say, oh, no, actually, I want it up here, and they move it. Or it could be some sort of arbitrage sort of a thing, And so you might be thinking, like, when you take that, everybody has this idea in their head, okay, some big hedge fund wants to go short here, or they want to take their profit here. And that's kind of the storyline that we set out in our mind, right? But I have found that the thing that is much more influential on the price is when orders pull. So the amount of latent liquidity, if you kind of look at it from like a random perspective, like it's just like a choppy sea, and you've got this boat moving through it, right? And overall, it's just, the amount that it pushes it down, it pushes it back and so forth, right? The only way that it's actually going to move it is if somebody comes in and takes out a large section of the ocean, and then the boat is going to get sucked into it, right? So when you see pulling, that tends to be more influential on the price in the long run. That's why you can get things like yesterday where cumulative delta was dropping all morning, and it was one of the strongest buy days we've ever had. How fast the market goes in one direction, how many buyers or sellers are hitting, how much volume is traded. Well, yeah, but that's the thing, is like if I see a fast move, all of a sudden it moves 16 ticks. Like the question is, what does the latent liquidity do? Does the latent liquidity increase or decrease in that area? Right. So if you get a move like that, and all of a sudden the latent liquidity like decreases a lot, then you should probably be thinking maybe a piece of breaking news hit the market, right? Because the market makers determined that that move was unusual and was enough for them to reduce their risk and not put as much latent liquidity out. Yeah. I guess the real question is how Jigsaw differs from the Super DOM. Any feature? Oh, well, so yeah, so sure. So the thing that Jigsaw provides that I think is really so valuable is this inside column, the current trades column. Hold on a second. Okay, the E-mini is just going to take off. Like I'm sure that 3900 is on its way, right? So anyways, this current trades in the middle. Oh man, they're talking about Brexit stuff. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, okay. So what this shows is, how many contracts bought into that price since it's been at that level, right? So I can see how many contracts it took to clear. And that really lets me know what the latent liquidity is, right? Because what the resting liquidity is right there, I can see it, and that's in every platform, 3,000. But the chances are it's not actually going to be 3,000 that trades there. It's going to be more or less. And that inside column, the current trades column, really lets me see that. And so that's the thing that I think is so useful about Jigsaw. Yeah, Rick says that Sierra Charts has that as well. It does. They've stole it for sure. There's a couple of things that you can do in Jigsaw. I think that Jigsaw is a better platform than Sierra Charts overall, but I mean, Sierra Charts is cheap and you get what you need. It's great. So the issue is kind of that who's more likely to come up with another way of showing you things that's going to be really useful. Is it going to be Sierra Charts or Jigsaw? Sierra Charts doesn't really innovate. They just copy people. So Man, not slowing down there. They just continuing to eat into prices now that the treasuries have kind of balanced back out and are still higher. What do you think about auction theory? I think there's some validity to it. It's again one of those things where it's like, okay, here's the theory, but how does it help you make a trade? So I see auction theory be used to justify a lot of things that may or may not be true. Does Sierra charts have the market depth though? Yeah. You can set up a DOM on Sierra charts that looks almost exactly like this. It's just like, you have to know what settings to use. You have to know where all the settings are. That's the problem on that one. But Sierra charts, they've got so many settings in there, you can kind of customize it to be whatever you want. Can you get that inside column on NinjaTrader? NinjaTrader would be capable of doing it, but it's not built into the platform, no. I'll say this, Sierra Charts DOM is way better than NinjaTrader's. Everything is better than NinjaTrader's DOM. Oh my gosh, the NinjaTrader DOM is so terrible. I'm sure that now that Jigsaw has gone off and made their own platform, that maybe NinjaTrader will be incentivized to improve their DOM. Sierra Charts is lighter on your CPU. I don't know. Like, the thing is that the things that you want to use NinjaTrader 8 for are things that are going to be more CPU intensive anyways. You know what I mean? You're probably dealing more with RAM issues than you are CPU, Ace. It's a memory hog. All C# applications are to some extent because of all of that data that they have to store for reflection. It probably takes like a good 2 minutes for my NinjaTrader 8 to start up every morning. They have Motive Wave in their DOM is good, but yeah, that's one that I don't see very often. It's kind of weird. Like, there's so many platforms out there, and I'm kind of always like, who buys these? You see that little push back there? They touched 38.98 and there's like a flush of sell volume, but it like barely affected the liquidity at all. Oh yeah, we forgot to turn the LED on. Oh my gosh, let me show you this. So I went and I found that the person that, you know, gave me the base code for it had other things in it. So I found the other data files and tried that, and it's kind of given me some ideas on being able to make my own effects, but I'm still, you know, I'm going to have to learn a little bit more about their language because there's a lot of like assembly level stuff in there. So, you know, oh my gosh, like right there, then when it does the Space Invaders, it's so bright. Even bookmap set things up so people can arrange their DOM to look like Jigsaw. Yeah, the bookmap DOM is just not as good. The bookmap DOM is kind of a little weird. And this is where, that's the thing with bookmap is like I said, the polling is really important, and the Vista doesn't really show you that. So you've got all of these people looking at these colors on something that is kind of like a game. But I'm just telling you, with the way that those market making algorithms work, when they are forced to pull their liquidity is way more important. Well, I tell you what, the market sure is happy about that CPI print being good. They recovered that whole downward move from the other day. It's super bright. When you do the Y LED, it's super bright. Zero Hedge says stocks explode higher after fabricated CPI print. Okay. What do we got here? It would appear the algos miss the fact that the BLS made it all up. For example, amid record home prices, the CPI says that shelter inflation just hit a 10-year low, and that's government quote-unquote data for you. Really? Oh, that is weird. The only response we got from multiple desks this morning was, "This is nuts," along with a few expletives. What happens at the cash open? And Tesla is above 700 again. Well, I took my trade. I can just sit here. Yeah, the LED screen in the back is a bit disruptive, especially with the text scrolling. Well, it does need to be a little slower. So I want it to just, I can turn it off because it disrupts me. I want to have it so that it will read out donation messages and it will read stock tickers. That's what I would like to set it up to do. But I don't think that I can do that per se. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, do you really have the window open? That's funny. Most of you guys just minimize the window and just listen. It's kind of funny that, I saw this as like a really strong move up, but I didn't sit down and be like, oh, this is nuts, till I read that Zero Hedge story. And now I'm kind of sitting here wondering, how do I not realize how crazy that was? Well, why did we skyrocket at 7:30? Because of the CPI. CPI was in line. Some people are kind of questioning that the numbers that are coming out of that. Zero Hedge actually has a really good point here, Okay, like we are in an absolutely insane housing market right now. So like, oh my gosh, there's this house down the street. And because we've been looking for property to maybe potentially rent out, right? So my wife saw that one and she's like, oh, I'll inquire and see how much it is and everything else like that, right? So this is like a 1 or 2 bedroom house. I mean, it's tiny. It's like 2 bedrooms and a basement, basically. So tiny house. And they're asking $470,000 for this 1 bedroom house. Okay. Like I own oh man, how many bedrooms do we have? A 5 bedroom house with a finished basement, and we paid like $550 or something like that, right? So, oh man, if I tried to sell this house, I can only imagine what they would be giving me right now, right? Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I'm told that it used to be like you know, you'd put a house out and people wanted it, and there would be like 2 people giving you offers. Like when we did it, we thought that the market was really good. When we sold my wife's house, the market was really good, and it was easy to get one. When I sold mine, the market was really good, and we had like 3 people sending us in offers, and we just got to pick and choose. Now the markets, for every house that comes out, there's like 30 people bidding on it, and the bids that they put in and everything are like just absolutely insane. No inspection, no appraisal, nothing like that. They just buy it. And then what happens is that house, you know, it shows up in all of the reports. So now all of the houses in the neighborhood are using that house that just sold as their baseline for how they value the house, right? So then the price just goes up and up and up and up and up. So the housing market right now is insane, and housing prices are going up very quickly in suburbs. And this is not reflected in the CPI report at all. And it's not like this is like it's just barely started happening and it will start to show up in the later reports sort of a thing. Like this has been going on for months now, right? I live in the suburbs of Philly and my house is more than 10% this year. Well, for a 1 bedroom house to be worth $470, the value of my house has to have increased 50 to 100%. Like that's insane. Maybe they're asking too much. Maybe you need to low bid them, and I don't know. That's a lot for a 1 bedroom house. It's like we're all California now. ING Senior Rate Strategy says the U.S. 10-year yield could spike well above 2% in the next 3 months, according to CNBC. ING expected average inflation to reach 2.9% this year and stay at that level next year. When my house value hits $1 million, I'm going to sell and build a house out of the actual money. Well, if you got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, be glad at least these next few years are going to absolutely decimate renters. You're probably right. I have been playing Minecraft. Oh, so you do have Minecraft. You got to get into the Discord, man. You open it up and give me your username and number. There's like a little number. We can play. I wanted to play more. I'm so bored with life, man. It's a little frustrating sometimes in the evening. It's like, seems like everything is going well for me. Like the trading is going pretty well, and everything else is fine. It looks like things could pick up at work, so that will be a little bit more interesting. And it's like, I don't find any of it satisfying in the least bit. It's an ADHD thing, I think, but it's just like I don't derive any satisfaction from it. It's just like, okay, now what do I do? No, I'm bored. Of course, you have your children will play it. How would you not play it with your dude? We got the whole, so like, because you can get it on your phone. So we have it on phones, we have it on laptops, we have it on computers, we have it on Macs, and like everybody can play it. Well, so the thing is like, okay, so if housing is going super crazy, then could you go and build it for cheaper? And I think the answer would probably be no. Unless you like really built it yourself. You should visit India and never be bored again. I mean, maybe. Mighty says, I need the market to crash again, like in two. So this is the other thing, is like every time that I see Tesla and ARK up, normally the normal feelings that you would expect to feel over something like that is like maybe fear of missing out or jealousy or something like that, right? But when I see it, it kind of gives me anxiety. It's like this thing keeps going and it shouldn't do, Inflationary impacts from too much stimulus, housing values, wage mandates, higher rent. Yeah. How much weight are you putting into Michael Burry's hyperinflation prediction? I don't know about that one. I mean, I expect inflation to rise later this year. This thing that ING was saying, that's like more than we're expecting, right? Because we're expecting that like we should reach the 2% target this year, and that unless we're getting 3% this year, the Federal Reserve's not going to do anything. And then here you got Michael Burry, who I have to say, when you read his tweets, it's very political. So that's something I'm a little bit about how much I would trust Michael Burry's predictions on that sort of a thing, because the hyperinflation scenario is not something that I think is really on the table at the moment. It's not on the list of concerns. I think that a lot of other people that are putting analysis out in saying that inflation is going to be higher and that we're putting too much stimulus out there, though, I think that that's correct as well. Just like the hyperinflation doomsday scenario just sounds a little crazy to me. So one that I would recommend that you go and read is the Bond King yesterday, right? He gave his presentation and he pointed out a bunch of things. Here, let's go find it. Oh, that's weird. Where is it? Should be like in the first 2 pages. Oh, here we are. Jeffrey Gunlock. People are starting to believe that stimulus is permanent. is what he says. I have to say, there's this whole thing out there about modern monetary theory. And remember, I've always said the issue isn't so much inflation as it is who's going to take on the debt. And like here we are with yields rising like crazy, basically showing you exactly why modern monetary theory is a bad idea. So here he shows, so for instance, one of the charts that he focused on is here showing that the government it was responsible for a quarter of all income in the United States. That's a little disturbing. Pointing out the unemployment problems. There's the open. So it's a little mixed here on the open. There's a lot of volume there at the 38.99 where they opened at. Anyways, there's a pretty good shot that they'll let the 10-year yield go above 2% before they do anything about it. That's what it sure looks like, right? It's not what you know, it's what the market believes that matters, says Zero Hedge. It's true. For the life of me, I can't work out Tesla, but hey ho, up 20% in a day, whatever. Who am I to argue? I shall use it as a selling opportunity. There you go. Generally, options are easier, I think. No way. I have to say, trading options is difficult. I think that a lot of people fool themselves on options because you can go and sell options. If you have a good wad of cash, you can go and sell options and you can regularly win. And so then all of a sudden you think that you're a genius, right? But then the spike in the VIX comes up and you get decimated. You get absolutely decimated. And most of these people don't have a sophisticated enough model and analysis to stem the losses when that sort of a thing occurs, you know? So you've got to be getting the right prices and the options. You can't go in and look at what the prices are and just go off of those prices usually, unless you're just doing straight put and call buying and you really know that a big move is coming, you know? Okay, so there's a little bit of a move higher. Probably could continue on that one. My leg is really bouncy today, I'm sorry. But you can probably hear that bouncing sound. Axel says there are strategies where you can hedge your position, thus making good profits with a high winning rate. Well, yeah, that's where. So if you have enough money, so like let's just say that you are selling puts, right? That you need to own the stock, which is 100 shares of the stock per thing, and given the prices of a lot of stocks today, like you really have to have a big chunk of change to do those sorts of things. And then if the stock goes down, you do lose money. You're just kind of like, Most of the things these retail traders are doing with options are losing money. That money comes from somewhere. And then you kind of get into like the more sophisticated strategies, and there's like the execution risk on those, where like one side of it gets executed and the other side doesn't, and those sorts of problems. Like selling a put like that would be very risky. No way a professional would, but people do it all the time though. Axelrod. I see people do it all the time on Reddit. But you just got to remember that when we're getting these big VIX spikes, Theta Gang, that's Theta Gang losing. So that was a pretty good run, but it turned back down again, and there is a ton of volume now, trading at 38.97. And apparently a little bit of a gap on the open. The problem with options, you can be right. Well, yeah, if you're buying options, sure. Really, that's a very weird. I don't know, man. Like, just go and look at Wall Street Bets and look at what kind of options they're doing. Because most of the people that you see, yeah, they're just buying call options, like really far out of the money call options, and they get lucky, right? But every once in a while, you see the guys from Theta. You remember that it was that guy that you know basically was able to find a loophole in Robinhood's system that allowed him like basically infinite money to buy options with, right? That was kind of what initially really made Wall Street Bets truly popular, right? Well, there is a bit of selling here on the open. Well, but we could see another thing like yesterday, right? This is what we saw yesterday: is a selling, and it just went up. Well, we still got the 10-year auction today. That could be a problem. Mr. Taleb made a lot of money with OTM options. Sure. Well, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't sell options. It's absolutely a viable strategy. It's just you've got to go back and think about, okay, like where do you derive edge, right? Because if you don't have some sort of an analysis edge, okay, there's other kinds of edges that you can take. And the easiest kind of edge to develop, I would say, is taking on risk. If you take on risk, the market, at least in the short term, will reward you, right? So when you sell options, you're taking on risk that other people don't want to have, right? The problem is just that most people, that kind of a strategy isn't appropriate for them, right? Like if I had $100,000 account, I would maybe think about selling options, or if I, even if I had a couple 10,000s, But for most people, when they're just dealing with a few $1,000 account, like I just don't think that those option strategies are going to work for them. They're not going to have the bankroll to really do the things that will make them successful, 10-year auction, what do you mean by that? There is an auction in the 10-year today at 11 o'clock my time? Yep. 1 o'clock Eastern time, that is going to be widely watched by the market. Plan before trade says absolutely, Seth. Yeah, it's the same thing with like here in futures market. Like if you could do a market making strategy, but and you probably a lot of us could be successful with it. Maybe not as successful as the robots, but guess what? You'd need like a huge account to do that. Seems like most options income strategies need at least 30K or so to make sense. Yeah. I think you're probably right. I don't know where that level is, but I've never seen somebody doing theta and starting with $1,000 account, you know? Like, and like, again, there's like positives and minuses to it, right? So like some of these effective theta strategies with options are actually quite sophisticated to execute, because in order to hedge yourself, there's a lot that you have to do, and how you choose the prices and calculate all of that. Like, you really want to have some pricing models to assist you on that. So the Treasury is pushing back up again and looks like they're about to attack the high. The E-mini just building lots and lots of volume around 38.98. So in this case, a lot of really big icebergs in that location. Oil reverses gains after Russia says to boost output from May. Oy. And then pretty good dip down and snap back in oil. What a snafu. Okay, Russia is not bailing on OPEC and not pumping full bore. Novak said production will be 890K barrels per day higher in May, but not from April, rather from April 2020. There's no announcement of a new production here. Oh, okay, so that was a fake headline. That's why they snapped right back. Funny. Seems Novak comments were poorly translated. Well, it sure looks like it wants to buy up, but like, look at how tight it is. This is not. Well, I don't think I want to participate. That was a yawn. That was a terrible yawn. When I see that kind of action, that's usually bad action for me. But I think you probably could still buy it and just try and hold it through and see it go, right? Looks like Gabby got her second one there. She is just on a tear. So what do we need to see at the auction today to have a sell-off? Well, so you can look at the yield and the numbers and everything, but this is one of those things where they once you know what's going on, it's like already decided, right? So just watch ZN and see which way it's going into and now out of that auction. And if you're sitting there with your news squawk and it takes a really, really long time for the results of the auction to come out, is usually a bad thing. Okay, so there's the E-mini pushing higher. They're gonna bust out the top. They're doing the level break setup. No, I'm pretty sure that Gabby wears pants. Yeah, there it is. Continuation. It seems like they like it there. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of a pullback. Apple reportedly slashes planned iPhone 12 mini production amid slumping demand. Well, nobody cares about the well, maybe the mini, I don't know. They will take profits here. Well, there's just like a lot of areas of high interest, isn't there? Well, GameStop up 17%. How far do you think it can go? They're all talking $1,000 again today, and I'm like, I don't think so. Just flipping action? I don't know. The thing is there really shorts covering? I mean, there's still a lot of shorts in there. That's where I'm like, I'm not so sure that there's enough for them to make a new all-time high, for instance. Yeah, stop run right there. At least what appears to me to be a stop run. Cumulative delta, really interesting. This is unusual patterns in behavior in cumulative delta. Not sure what happened. Well, the thing is, remember, there was like news that they tapped a guy to do their online sales bet. That is good. So that was good news for the stock, and so I guess it can move up even if it's overvalued. But then it's turned into the frenzy again, where all these guys think it's going to go to $1,000 as they squeeze out shorts, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, but there's only like so many shorts now, you know. Either way, it just doesn't interest me the way that it's going, because it's very much turned into a, we're just going to drive this stock, and I don't want to be involved in those. That's weird. Futures trader had trouble starting his YouTube live stream today. Wonder what the deal is with that. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna go for more. That buy I got was good. Oh, and Brandon took his target. Good. It's good. And Squire took his target. And the 2J's not doing so well, but J2 appears to be doing better. Oh, and did Joseph? Oh no, Joseph is in one now, though. Indy took some and lost money. So this is a pretty good run there. A little higher. It's still pretty thick, I would say. I do kind of wonder what might happen here in the Treasury. I should have taken it long again in the Treasury, but I'm feeling sleepy. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, so crude going higher there now to 65. Man, well, so anybody that bought that dip, it sure is a lucky get. Man, that was some real havoc in oil. Is it 39.12 is the March high? Is it? No, I didn't think we were that close. I was trying to pretend that he was shadow banned, but then you guys started responding to him, so now I gotta get rid of him. Financial viz says a short interest from Jamie. Well, I'm just looking at the last what do we call it? The last FINRA report. The last FINRA report was 50%. It kind of depends on what they put as the flow. I wouldn't use the percentage number. I would just look at the number of shares short, right? And it was like 14 million, right? So is that enough for a short squeeze? I guess, but I don't see how you get to 1,000 with that. Let's see here. We do get some, oh yeah, Bank of Canada interest rate decision at the top of the hour. We just broke a huge. Well, they're coming through. That's not. Let's see here. So ES all-time high is 39.58. 39.12 is kind of the high from all of this volatility we've been having lately. USD CAD trades lower into the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Excuse me. bumped the table there really hard. A lot of tweeting about Major Retailer Green, who made a motion to adjourn to stop Congress from passing the $1.9 massive Jesus calls it the $1.9 trillion massive woke progressive Democrat wish list. We should do everything to stop it. Pay attention if Republicans vote to adjourn or vote with the Dems. You're not going to stop it, though, Major. Like, come on. I guess the real conservatives are like it, though. Okay, so here's a bunch of volume going through around the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Of course, it's a no change. Okay, so a little move back down. Back to where I bought it earlier. You should have traded 14. You're talking about a different price. You're talking about a different instrument. I could maybe. There you go. If you really want to help Americans reopen the schools, reopen America, and stop wasting more American tax dollars, it's mind-boggling to me that there are places in the United States still where the schools are closed. It's just absolutely insane, I think. Oh, 14 in ZN. Going short that? That's an interesting take because I was saying, oh, when it came back to like 06, I should have bought it. But I was like, the move's over. They're just oscillating around. I don't know what they're going to do. But it probably would have been an easy buy. We're going to get that across here. And they're being a little shy. Is there an absorption indicator? Well, the current trades can kind of tell you absorption, and there are bubbles that get drawn on the Vista chart when there's large absorption. There's a number of other things that you can show. You can create alerts for it and so forth. So there's pretty okay buying action there, and they backed off. Note the language here. We remain committed to holding the policy interest rate at the effective lower bound until economic slack is absorbed so that the 2% inflation target is sustainably achieved. In the bank's January projection, this does not happen until into 2023. Oh, and I got filled. Good deal. Well, I tell you what, I'm doing pretty well today, but when I look at this environment, I'm kind of sitting here like going, how can you possibly not be making money today? You know? You ain't going to get days like this all the time, but yeah, all you got to do is buy it somewhere and you'll probably make money, right? Overall, Canadian inflation then expected to moderate as base year effects dissipate and excess capacity continues to exert downward pressure. Oi, buy that one. That's all I want. Bank of Canada reiterates that its January projection does not expect economic slack to be absorbed until some point in 2023. Ooh. The new Instagram Lite will be available for Android users and provide many of the app's current features in a way that requires less data. That would be good. Because Android uses, Instagram uses way too much. You know what, though? I don't really like Instagram. Nah. TikTok is way better. Instagram is too curated, and you have to do everything right over there, and meh. Meh. You think breaking 39.15 is going to be tough? I don't know. So the one thing I'm just noticing here today, the thing that I find interesting, is that we are getting once again one of these days where it is crazy upside action and the futures are selling against it. Million-dollar price tags on a record number of Singapore's public housing sales are a sign the city-state is joining the frenzy gripping property markets. What the heck happens there? GE extends losses to session low, then falls as much as 7%. Because why? Oh, Donald Trump speaks, huh? Livid Trump blasts, our country is being destroyed at the southern border. Oh, man, I couldn't even begin to get into that thing, man. It is going to be a zoo down there. And I'm just kind of wondering at what point the media really starts paying attention to it. They might take you for a communist? Why? Because I've TikTok, because I said something about TikTok. Yeah. I can't support the Chinese TikTok. Who cares? I got this thing where it's like they're invading your privacy and all of this, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, but as long as they're telling me that they're doing that, why do I care? Why do I care? It doesn't affect me. Like, you already assume that the internet knows everything about me, right? It's a fun platform. You actually get like genuine people on TikTok. It's not perfect. There's definitely problems with it. Okay, it's like really hard to do long form content over it. Like, you can do it, but it usually doesn't take off, right? Yeah, let's read what Trump said. Cool. Oh, wow. Gabby also was able to take that trade. And, well, not also. It was really a different trade, but it was kind of off the same area, right? And she got her target, and then it immediately turned down. So that one was a little bit of luck. And it dipped pretty hard on her first, so yeah. There you go. Enforcing our immigration laws and helping to keep Americans safe is one of the federal government's most important functions. The Biden administration is failing its basic responsibility to Americans. Republicans aren't going to be very happy in 2022, are they? You guys are, am I just seeing your comments really late? Nah. I think you're just behind Axelrod. You should click the live button down below. This is full of fake people and just becoming dangerous on how it affects children's mentality. Yeah. Suffer that the kids don't really use Instagram, so I think it's all those millennial influencers on Instagram, and everybody was sick of them. So now you got the TikTok influencers. Which apparently I am somewhat of a TikTok influencer now that I have 1,500 subscribers. No, that's like nothing on TikTok. That's the thing that gets so crazy about it. Yeah, Steve says only a 2-second delay from. Yeah, no, you should only get a 2 to 3 second delay. But Axelrod is repeating back things that I said like 10 minutes ago. So that probably means that because you can watch it on replay, right? You can rewind and like watch it twice as fast until it catches up to where we're at. So at the bottom of the YouTube window, though, there's a live button, and if you click that, it will sync you back up to the current time. So it is 8:15 right now, and there's a time down, there's a clock down at the bottom, so you can tell if you're synced up or not. Yes, rotated from vault to vault. Well, I have to say that drop back down towards the open happened awfully fast, but that was like a little bit of a range stop out, so might not be a huge deal. Fox program tweets House now debating the final version of the 1.9 trillion. So why do we care about the stimulus bill? Everybody's known that it's going to be passed for the past like a month. China and Russia planning a lunar research base. Oh, what if the Chinese and the Russians beat the United States to having a lunar base? That would just be that would be disappointing to many Americans. What the heck is roaring kitty tweeting? Is this more GameStop meme? It's a Mortal Kombat scene. They must be doing that because GameStop doing well. Shall we come in and look at some stocks? Need to see how Tesla's doing because we're getting some whippy action here, aren't we? Dum, 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 dum. Donald Trump Jr. retweeting Marco Rubio, who has a bill to get rid of daylight savings. Oh, to make daylight savings permanent. Yes, please. More daylight in the evening results in fewer car accidents and robberies, and it allows kids to play outside longer. It does. Would be nice. Okay, so I can see that Tesla gapped up pretty significantly in the overnight session, and there was a pretty good jump at the open, but it has since meandered nowhere. I do see GameStop up another 20%. Look at that, man. It has just like been nonstop since that consolidation here. It is trading like it looks a lot like a cryptocurrency, doesn't it? This needs to be a 5-minute. Oh, why does it keep changing that on me, huh? Well, that looks like that's just going to keep going, doesn't it? ARK up 2%. And MSTR still up. MSTR well off its highs, but Bitcoin going up there. They're not quite to the 60K level yet. That is a new high though, isn't it? No, not quite. Not quite. These stupid dances are annoying. What? You talking about just all of the absorption and back and forth at all these levels? I think one of your issues that we've got is that we just rose so much overnight over that CPI that Bros Wise says very good stream. Well, thank you. I don't know. It's a kind of turning into dull here. I'm falling asleep, to be honest. I don't know what my deal is, but I feel so tired. Why the crypto world needs to pay attention in the recent crypto ban in Nigeria, tweets our friend Patrick Rooney. The E-mini turning down below the open once again. Some absorption there. Let's clear the downside. You gotta run. Are you saying that I need to stand up and take a run to a... Why is Ace bringing that up? Oh, because you're saying you're so close. I gotcha. Your OCD says that your collar is a little tilted to the side. No, it's just you can't really see the color because it's black, right? I don't necessarily like to wear this shirt because it makes me blend into the background, but that's what was there, so I wore the black shirt. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? But veteran political consultant Dick Morris has reportedly been meeting with Donald Trump as he looks to chart his path forward in politics after leaving the White House. Start a network. Hey, come on. Well, now they're thinking about touching the lows. Well, there's some absorption there at the bottom of the volume profile value area. I don't know, man. That's a little, You could just sell it there. Be part of the crowd that pushes it over. How many people in this room? I bet you that a lot of people would pay to listen. Well, wouldn't pay to listen to him, but a network that was him, you would have to watch it. There's not really an alternative news source anymore on cable television, right? Like Fox is not the counter establishment channel that people think it is. This takedown year is kind of, I'm having a hard time. It looks like a buy. I mean, there's a lot of absorption there. But I'm concerned that we're even back down here now. There you go. Well, how much of this are they going to give up? There's still more absorption on the downturn. New variants in New York City appear to be more infectious, says Chosky. Don't know who that is. Is that why the market's selling off here? It's never going to end. We're just going to have to be on economic stimulus for the rest of our lives. Oh no. I don't know. If the market just continued to act like this forever, I guess it wouldn't be so bad. Unfortunately, this can't go on forever. Did I hear you, Seth, that you wouldn't pay? If Donald Trump set up a news station, I would certainly have to follow it to be up on what the news and political narratives are, but I would not pay for a subscription service, no way. Unless there was like the Donald Trump Financial News Network or something. And it was really good. So big order showing up at 38.91.50. Stimulus deal is done. This dip is just a shakeout. I don't know, man. Wonder if that's just like a headline to scare the robots, you know? Could have taken 95 and it would be out by now, though. I just want to go to sleep, man. I don't like the way I feel. Just sleepy all the time, man. Oh, so we're getting crude oil. I can see oil is falling down here with the E-mini. Wonder if they're related. And dollar strength is coming back in. What's going on here? That's pretty ugly. Yeah, that was a pretty brutal move. It was okay volume on it, but it sure happened quickly. So inventory is a draw versus the forecast. So their price moving back up here. Pretty bearish, but low still, I guess. The delta is definitely negative. I mean, it really turned down negative. Like, that's a good 10,000 contracts short. Good thing you sold on NQ. There's a little gap right here. Let's see. Yeah, they're having a little bit of trouble with it still. Well, what a zany day for you oil traders, huh? Yeah, there's quite a bit of trade at 38.89.50 or so. And they've traded, there's quite a bit of latent liquidity there. Okay. Here cometh the buyers. Buy the dip, boys. That's what you gotta do. I don't know, man. So I looked at that and I was like, well, maybe some of this downturn is oil. But then I saw that it was wrong. I was like, okay. I think that might be why the E-mini moved the way that it just did there. In addition to just, the way that the liquidity was behaving. Cool. Why do you argue with him, Ace? Just ban him. Who is he posts the hammer? There you go. Okay, so I'm really happy with my trading today. I still kind of feel like that it's more of a function of the market. It's unusually good performance. That was what? 6 in a row? 6 winners in a row, hardly a tick against me. They were all buys though. Even that last one was a buy. That's funny. I wasn't talking to you. No. Uzi, you've been doing great. Oh my gosh, you've been on top of it. I was complaining to Ace, so it's like because Ace was arguing with him. This looks like it's gonna reverse back up. To be honest, I'm bet you this spot 3902, they're gonna go back up there. I don't know. I honestly, well, that one should have been more. That one should have been more, but I don't know, man. I'm just going through this, and it's kind of like that's too good. I'm a little suspicious. I mean, like I do have some approaches and changes and things that I've kept to myself that are working really well, but that is like better than anything I've tested should tell me. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm doing it. Still got, well, we still got plenty of time left here. I kind of, we should come back and do the auction, but I don't think it will. But you come into futures trading interest rates channel and check us out when the auction comes. That'll be an important point in the market. Based off of the way the markets are behaving today, though, maybe it'll be okay. Yeah. When we had those bad auctions, there was kind of some weird things going on in the treasury market overall that kind of hinted at it. Today, you're not getting anything like that. So no, they turn back down there very quickly in the E-mini. Maybe they're not going to reverse. You're trading only Only the E-mini. Well, the E-mini and the Treasury. The first one was in the Treasury. What do you use to track that auction? What do you mean? I'm just watching the DOM and seeing where the volume trades at and where it doesn't trade at. So you can see there's volume trading at 38.85. All right, new low, or regular session low. I'm going to stand up. I am really just kind of sleepy. My chemicals are just all out of whack. Okay, so there was some monster absorption there at 38.84. Plan before trade, yeah, maybe gap closure, wouldn't it be? Actually, it would be fun, wouldn't it? But they bounced pretty hard off of that absorption down at the low, so I don't know if you're gonna get it. to be honest with you. Oh man, I was just looking at the stats. 21 likes. Thank you guys so much. I don't even say anything. You guys just click like every time, and I'm like, I don't deserve such a good community. TA is still a thing for you might be right. I mean, it seems to me like the retail trader's probably pretty happy right now, especially with GameStop going up. They're gonna try and trade off of technicals, yeah. Well, as we've been moving down, I hope I'm not making you guys sleepy by yawning all the time here. But the volatility definitely increased when we came down. Like the range of the bars is more. And they still haven't retraced through the kind of where we fell from at like 94. So there was like a fall at 98 and then 94. I trade ZB. That's my secret cap. I'm always sleepy. This is like beyond just like oh I slept. This is like my chemicals are messed up. You're so soothing, and that's what I need for this stressful trading business. It is stressful. I'm not always soothing though. Am I? Sometimes we go on crazy rants. I didn't. One of the things with these headphones is I'm realizing there is a lot more low end in my voice than I realized. And I'm like, should I take it out? But you guys seem to be okay with this. So I'm like, here, we can mess. You know what? Now would be the perfect time to mess with this sort of a thing. We can mess with it. Let's see here. What do I got on here? Filters. I have an expander and a compressor on it. Okay. So I should try and add an EQ. Select a plugin. Ooh, I can fresh air my voice? Oh, I should do that. Okay, wait. First, I need to, oh, I guess it's only the M ones, so I'll just do M equalizer. Open plugin interface. Oh yeah, Spots has a very, very deep voice. The dumpster guy is probably the only person I'll physically speak to until the wife gets home tonight. I seize the opportunity. That's so funny, dude. I feel yeah. Okay, so what I could do is I could come in here and why is it not showing me the bands? And you know, you can just roll off from about 120, let's say. 3 dB. I don't know if that sounds any different to you guys. Maybe just a little bit of a boost right here. 2K, that might make me a little harsher. How does that sound? Here, I'll change it. With it off. With it on. Off. On. Off. On. Off. On. Actually, I can do it like this. I can do that. And I come in here to advanced audio properties. And I turn monitor end output. Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, on, off, on, off, on, off. See, I like it better like that. You can't spot the difference. Well, I had to turn off because the echo goes back off to me. Yeah, you might not be able to tell the difference unless you have like really nice headphones or speakers, because it's going to be more bassy or less bassy. It's going to be less bassy. Land Before Trade says, now I can tell. But yeah, I'm kind of doing the opposite of what people do, because people usually turn the bass up. Oh, could you hear the echo? Yeah, that might be... Yeah, I'll keep it the same as before, but it's fun to mess with. But you know what I'm more interested in? Oh my gosh, where is it? This air plug-in, man. Fresh air. Oh yeah. What are the spatial parameters on your headset? Well, they have pretty overdone bass. Computer love. What? Oh, I see. There. No, you shouldn't hear that now. Okay. Lots of high. See, now I'm really breathy. There we go. Nice and bright. Just put a filter to talk like a Cylon? Wait, what would I do for that? What do we got here? Frequency shifter, noise generator. charm verb. What is that? Oh my. Oh my. That probably does nothing. There we go. Oh man, that destroys it. That just destroys the mic. But not really. Maybe like that. No. Maybe like that. There we go. There we go. That doesn't destroy it as much as I'd like. Convolution easy. Whoa. Some of these plugins I've never messed with before, so. Oh, I can do FMA. That worked. And get rid of that one. And get rid of that one. And now we're back to what we were. I don't know, the pressure is kind of nice. What do you think? Blah 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 blah. Like this. And like this. Like this. How about like that? Berkshire another high. We'll try it like this and see if you guys notice. There we go. Yeah, okay, cool. Why are we down? I don't know, Sebastian. Well, so there was kind of, the oil report kind of moved us up, but it may just be down because we were up so much. I don't know. There's also, you know, there's a treasury auction in 2 hours, so that's going to kind of, they might need to go sideways until that. No, not much coming out on Twitter here either. Take a look at the hourly chart. I mean, so when I look at like my volume profile charts, I see that we kissed that 3,900 resistance and are kind of bouncing off of it still and may still be in an ascending triangle. I mean, since that initial kind of dump, probably should have taken a trade off of that too, shouldn't we? But that's okay. But since then, I'd say it's been pretty meh. I don't know. I guess any other day I would maybe be excited about this. Maybe my expectations about how far it would move is getting like, messed up. That's something that will really get you. Is you get so used to the volatility, and then when it dies down, you're like, "What's wrong?" Can you bring back the screeching birds? How did the screeching birds get rid of the trolls? Did that scare them off? Well, the birds are in the basement, and I expect that they will stay there until Asher is old enough to know not to eat bird crap. Oh my gosh, what the heck? I just poked myself there. Guess it's time to shave. There's still this spot here, like 94, is kind of like problematic for them. They did cross it once, though. I think they should be able to do it again.
Block by.
I was a big buy at 12 in the ZB and ZN. I feel bad for the birds. I don't get to see me as much. I mean, they seem okay down there, but I miss my birds. Pelosi says the COVID relief bill may be more impactful than the Affordable Care Act. Okay, whatever. Because it's not like we did 2 other stimulus bills before that. I mean, it looks like buyers are trying. They're pushing there, right? There you go. Uzi says that 1,400. You know what? So that's gonna pull you out of poverty, right? Uzi's so poor. That poor guy. I saw a post on Wall Street Bets where a guy said that he had nothing, and then after the stimulus check, and he put it all in November, and he's got a couple $1,000s, and I'm like, this is like not good things. Like, yes, the way to success is to gamble all of your money away in the stock market during a historically overbought market. I just looking forward to curbs covered in 80-inch TV box, right? Well, I still ask, where do you invest it? Man, like, everything is just crazy. Buy rental properties? Well, I guess if I could buy a rental property, even at the insane prices that we're getting right now, it probably would still make sense, because I think that things will get even worse for renters, right? But probably I think you want to wait until the summer when all of that inventory from the landowners that just got screwed over all of this come in, you know? I mean, I'll throw ours in. Yeah, I mean, I could just put it into S&P 500. Yeah, it's a little disconcerting to me, this thing that Zero Hedge pointed out earlier, that housing is going crazy and it's not showing up in the CPI. Where are they getting this number from? Because there is definitely inflation in certain markets coming out. No question about it. It's kind of cute how they have to upsell the crap out of the stimulus when Democrats pass it, though, right? They're acting like it's like... That's exactly what I was getting at. They're acting like this is the first stimulus. We've been suffering for 2 years, and now finally the stimulus is here and we'll all be saved. It's the third stimulus. That was really soothing, wasn't it? The Republicans gave me a slice of bread. Democrats gave me 4 beans. Thank God for the government and their healthy boundaries. Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference. So I'll tell you is that the Democrat stimulus includes stimulus for Democrat cities who are in dire financial situations. That's where it makes a difference, right? For them. All of us in Republican-run states are fine. Like, as far as I'm concerned, in Utah, it's like it's over already. You know? We're in the recovery. I'm waiting any day now. I might be able to go to the grocery store without a stupid mask on. I mean, I understand maybe it was a smart idea to do it, but I don't like wearing them, right? So what, some bloated union pension fund black holes will get a few buckets of sand tossed into them? Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. Kind of makes you, whenever I think about that, then I start thinking about Puerto Rico, because they want to make Puerto Rico a state, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. I'm not so sure that it would always be a Democrat representative. I think, though, here's what they should do. They should do a compromise. Hear me out. Puerto Rico becomes a state. California gets split in two. I know y'all in California want it. You'd be surprised how few Puerto Ricans want Puerto Rico to be a state. Well, the whole vote thing, that's a complicated issue. I don't know how you sort all of that out. They voted for it, but some people didn't vote, so it's like... I kind of wonder how that all works out, though, because they still got that debt problem, right? You remember when that was a thing markets were digesting? That was so long ago, man. Everybody's forgotten about that one. Nah, I think it's a fair compromise. Puerto Rico becomes a state. California gets split in two. Everybody is happy, man. Puerto Rico's a state. The Republicans get, back from California being split up. Californians are happy because they've wanted to be separate states for a long time. Of course, California would have to approve it, but come on, let's do it. California becomes a state. California, North California and South California. Let's do it. Or we could name North California something different. Yeah, basically giving the Dems 2 extra. Well, no, because you could. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't get the North California to be Republican. Okay, so let me go. Maybe that's not a fair compromise. Okay, Puerto Rico becomes a state, and we split New York into 2 states. Says upstate New York would vote Republican, right? South California could just be called North Mexico. Okay, give it to the no. Just no. Oh man, I gotta tell you, this situation on the border is a way bigger deal than the media is. I mean, the media is still kind of trying to play games with it. Like they're pointing it out and they're reporting on it and they're asking the administration questions. Okay, sure. But what is concerning is the way that the administration is talking about it. Did you see this? So one of the things was they asked the question to the press secretary. And she was like, we don't know. That's not our program. That's the Department of Homeland Security's thing. And it's like, but you're the chief executive. Like, that is a department under you, right? So it kind of suggests, I think it plays into this narrative that Joe Biden isn't really president, that he's just a puppet, which I honestly believe at this point. I don't think that Joe Biden is really making any calls. I think that it's a plutocracy. But you can see there that the plutocracy doesn't control the homeland of, so they're just like, now it's just like a bunch of rogue agencies doing whatever they want, right? Okay, so that's the stage is set. Okay, so now when shit really starts hitting the fan, guess what? There's nobody to come in and take decisive action on something. It's just going to continue to be a slog for years and years, where this whole thing just, on all of the problems that come in associated with it. And people, especially like no way, like Arizona and stuff, yeah, they're going to regret voting Biden. They're going to regret it. Isn't pretty much every U.S. president of it? No. Not to the extent that Joe Biden is. Like Joe Biden is really like has no control. Okay, like Obama. He was a real president, okay? He did stuff. He had control. He set the pace and everything. Joe Biden is not that same. He is not the one deciding what they focus on, and no way. They won't even let him talk in public. It's just crazy. But yeah, to some extent, was the U.S. always a plutocracy? Maybe to a stronger extent than people realized. Because when you look at the pandemic, you can definitely see a lot of cases where, everything is run by these organizations and politicians, and they're not really very flexible. Nancy and Chuck are the real presidents. I don't even know who even knows. Some people think that Kamala Harris is making all of the decisions. Some people think that Joe Biden's wife is the one calling the shot. All I know is that he is not all there, and that they are not acting the way that a presidency would act on this thing. Like this is not the way that Obama administration behaved when they were dealing with a border crisis, right? It couldn't be any more obvious that Harris is president and Pelosi is, well, okay, there you go. Yes, I saw that. Uzi, Biden is ready to take questions. His handlers aren't ready for him to take questions. So there was this thing, they asked him the other day, like, does Joe Biden not want to talk to reporters? And they said there is no hesitancy on Joe Biden's part to talk to the media. I was like, I see what you did there. He wants to talk, but they're not letting him. You know that's got to be what's going on. What is Larry C-Mac posting here? There's a ton of stuff. Stablecoins have seen incredible growth in the past year. JP Morgan now expects a wave of stimulus buying to offset the massive $316 billion in month-end selling. Forex Life, stubbornly high COVID cases in Israel despite 50% vaccination is puzzling. Yes, it is. Anyways, and the thing that's so frustrating about it is that the border crisis was solved. Like, they fixed it all, and he intentionally went and they didn't need to change anything. It was fine. So if it really becomes a problem and people become upset about it, there will be nobody to blame but the Biden administration, right? Yeah, I'm seeing this thing about Goldman Sachs investing $10 billion to bolster black women over the next 10 years. Is getting a lot of press today. Forbes, losing touch with reality, a GameStop lesson. Before long, the saga of GameStop run of 2021 will be studied in economics and investment classes. If you were off grid for the last month and not up to date on this story, there are hundreds of articles out there that describe the circumstance of how small retail investors got together on a little-known forum called Wall Street Bets and ultimately drove interest and pricing on GameStop public stock to unexpected highs. And blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Are they going to talk about what's been happening this past week? No, this is a dumb article. I regret even starting to read it to you. Never mind. Well, back to the open now. I don't know. So there was an interesting gap there around the open too, by the way. Ganesh, thank you for stopping by. And thank you for saying hi. And thank you guys for almost 30 likes. That's 28 right now. But we get so much. It's really something else. almost sandwich time? Is it? Well, I guess it's almost noon. Yeah. We got 15 minutes left here on our side. Just wondering about why the market has performed the way that it has today. This is a little interesting because I've done really well, even though it's kind of been on both sides of the open here, right? Goldman on CPI, the stabilization in our shelter tracker and a warning drag from rent forgiveness suggest the scope for some of the rental acceleration to be sustained in the spring months. Well, I'm kind of looking at this all and I'm like, if this stimulus buying comes in, is it going to all go into GameStop, Tesla, and ARK? Because that's kind of is what it's starting to look like. You know what I mean? Well, and now back below the open again. It's just going to cross this like a trillion times, isn't it? Oof. I just cracked like every bone in my spine there. Oh, interesting. So oil, after rising after that surprise draw, is now falling back down. And the dollar did strengthen a little bit there. That might be part of why it's coming through. News Squawk has a big thing on the 10-year auction. Open image in new tab. The U.S. Treasury this week will auction $58 billion of blah 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 blah. Society General's analysis. Societe Generale analysts note that the 10-year sector appears fair on the 5-10-30 curve, highlighting that the February 10-year auction saw a big takedown from foreigners on the back of increased currency-adjusted yield pickup. However, the bank says that the currency-adjusted yield pickup for the 10-year sector for foreign investors has increased further since the last 10-year auction, which could be an added incentive for the March offering. SG states the key factor is repo. With the sharp rise in demand for 10-year from short sellers, it expects the supply increase to alleviate some of the pressures. The 10-year overnight repo rate is currently at 2.75%. The bank says the low dealer holdings are also positive for the auction. The current WI yield of the 10-year sector is trading higher than all 10-year auction stop yields since February 2020, which implies that the auction offers an outright concession, the bank says. However, SG says the further flattening of the 2s and 10s curve started this Monday, currently 140 basis points from the peak cycle of 147 basis points, could negatively affect demand for the 10-year sector from RV seekers. Overall, the bank says it is positive on the auction, but noted that the CPI data before might alter the course of the auction, but the CPI data was in line. So, indeed, the softer core figures had seen somewhat appeared to be a quick flush out of duration shorts, although the move has lacked meaningful momentum at pixel time with yields within the day's ranges. I wonder where they get that information. Can you we don't call it SocGen. Yes, I see. I'll allow the cookies. News. Economic research. Well, I've never heard that detailed of an analysis on an auction, and I would love to get more of that. Yeah, I've got a hair in there that's messed up or something. It hurts. I need to pull it out. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get anything too interesting. Well, there are chopping here pretty hard, though. I could make today's title 6 in a row, but nah. That was actually a pretty good drop there. It doesn't look like much on the chart, but it was an okay drop. Well, making another push across that section of the profile, 38.98. And even Twitter's kind of slowing down here. GameStop just pushed above 300 though. Wow. And getting a lot of information about the auctions that you don't normally see. Everybody's sharing it today. Hawaii declares state of emergency in the wake of damaging flood. I did not know. They had a pretty good sell, and now they're having a pretty good buy, but they're still not breaking out of that range. They still need to get above. Well, there's this pretty gap all the way up to 39.04 still, right? What? Watch this woke pastor say Jesus used a racial slur in the Bible and then repented of his racism? Okay. Well, Treasury's pretty healthy buying there at 13.5. It's close. It's close to breaking out, but then it just kind of they're not. The flow isn't there every time that it goes. GameStop now at 300 kind of becomes a little more interesting to me, though. Delta doesn't look too good. I don't know. The cumulative delta today is over the recent past hasn't been very effective, though. I mean, yesterday it was kind of sketchy, and Today it's kind of been doing weird things too. And we are coming in close to when we have to roll over, and that really kind of hurts the volumes that we get. Ugh. I noticed my robots didn't really take other trades. Looks like, let's see, how many trades did J and J2 take? So this one will be J. This one will be J2. J2. Oh, really? J2 took way more trades. Which I guess is how he was able to recover. But trading 50%. So it doesn't cover commissions. That's interesting. Well, worth investigating more. I may just need to go in and make the things that it looks for a little more extreme, and it might be better. All right, well, it is time for me to get going. So, I will see you guys tomorrow. Sorry, the end of this was, I guess, a little bit boring, but I don't know. This market, I think it's going to calm down. They're going to wait for the auction. Auction should be interesting. So, join us in Discord if you want to watch the auction. But otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.